Hi guys, it's Trig and welcome to a 2, maybe 3-part series about getting into PC gaming. This will be to do with what I've experienced. The positive and negatives, which I'm going to do first, is quite objective, and I hope that the positive and negatives incorporate the console war thing, just if you should go PC or console. But in this series I will cover negatives, positives, getting into PC, like buying one, how you go about that, and possibly a conclusive episode. So first I want to go over the negatives, because this is going to be the thing that tells you if this is for you or not. PC gaming is far more expensive than any other type of gaming because you have to get the components. Graphics cards can be quite expensive, especially if you want to get high-end ones. Then you need to get your peripherals like your mouse and keyboard. Say an £800 PC, you're going to want a 1080p monitor, which is about £100. Then peripherals on top of that, headset maybe. This is a main thing that makes PC gaming a negative, is that it is quite expensive to get into playing a console. You get remote and your console for far cheaper because you tend to have a TV as well. And then you also have to buy an OS on top of all of your PC components, which makes it far more expensive. So something else is there's bad PC ports. Game developers such as Ubisoft, which is sort of known for this, they make games primarily for consoles because that's where the majority of their market is, I believe. So they have the game there and then they port it onto the PC, and it just tends to not run as well, and that is the most infuriating thing. Recently Bethesda released Dishonored 2 and that wasn't that optimized for a long time, which was upsetting because it's a great game. Another thing about PC gaming is it's not as comfortable as if you have a console. You sit on a sofa primarily when you're on a console. However, when you play on PC, you have to sit forward, usually at a desk. Not all games feel right on PC. By that I mean there's like racing games and that sort of thing. They just don't feel right with a keyboard. However, there's another side to that, is you can get racing stuff and all that other stuff. You can use a controller, so that's fine. There's less AAA games on PC. Uncharted 4, Halo, Destiny 1 wasn't, Destiny 2 is going to be on PC. Another thing that adds to the whole cost of PC gaming is that parts become outdated very quickly. On consoles, the developers optimize the games perfectly for the hardware so that it runs as smoothly as possible, whereas on PC there's hundreds of configurations that you can have your PC with. You could have an i5 with an AMD graphics card, you could have an AMD CPU with a NVIDIA graphics card, and there's all the different models, so it's hard for them to optimize. It does add a bit of stress to the whole thing. However, some of you will be like, yeah, it's not much stress though. It isn't, but I'm just trying to be objective. I play both console and PC, so that's why I'm trying to give as unbiased an opinion as possible, though I probably will be biased to PC in some ways. Next is on to the positives of PC gaming. Because I started on the price, I'm going to do that here. There's a lot of sales, cheaper games and free-to-play games, possibly even free games for a weekend on Steam, for example, which is fantastic. You can get loads of sales, get really good deals. I think GTA 5 is currently like 75% off. Loads of sales constantly. Even at launch they can be far cheaper, which is fantastic. And you have tons of free-to-play games. I'm not saying they're great games, but they are free-to-play and they are available for you to play if you'd like to. There are more games also, because there's all of the games that were previous generation on console you can play on PC. You pay far more for a PC. What does that get you? You usually get better performance, higher frame rates, higher resolutions, and that is really a large reason that people come to PC. Massive frame rates, like over 100 easily. A mouse and keyboard gives you far more accuracy than a controller. By that I mean, on a controller you can hit your analog stick and it can go slightly more, slightly less. You tend not to get it perfect, but with a mouse, because it's got all the sensor technology, it's far easier to get your accurate target acquisition. However, you can still use a controller in games if you don't want to use a mouse and keyboard. That's perfectly fine because you can still take advantage of the hardware of the PC. And you can decide the performance in the configuration of many games, which is pretty cool as well. You can choose if you want to maximize frame rates, so that can make the game look really smooth, or you can maximize resolution with a cut in the number of frames you'll get. So they're the positive and negatives that I will cover and I'm not going to cover anymore. You can obviously look at loads of different sources. There's tons of places you can now look for this sort of video. I will have getting into PC video, so if you want to make a pre-built or do you want to build your own custom computer and how you would go about doing that, and maybe a conclusive episode recommending games and things that I would recommend when you go into PC. So thanks for watching guys, this has been Trigger J and I will see you in the next video. Thanks guys and goodbye.